on bridge.
When you step on board the world of Honkai Impact 3rd, you start off in a time capsule of miHoYo's past. You're entering into the year 2016, a time before they even dreamed of making AAA titles like Genshin Impact. This is the first three-dimensional game that miHoYo created, at a time when not a single member of their staff had knowledge of how to do anything in 3D. Yet, the dev team persisted and made one of the most engaging action games available on mobile devices at the time. Honkai 3rd's ambition for a mobile game laid the foundations for the rise of 3D action-based gacha games, and solidified miHoYo's position as a studio of high-quality anime-inspired titles. I'm Marty PCSR. I'm an artist that travels all over the United States. I showcase at conventions, and I've met many fans of this game. I first started playing Honkai Impact back in January of 2021, a few months following the release of Genshin Impact. Back then, I was so incredibly immersed in miHoYo's storytelling and wanted to know as much as I possibly could. I explored every part of the world of Teyvat and looked into all the connections that miHoYo was incorporating into their story. I had heard somewhat of the previous game, Honkai 3rd, and how it had inspired so much within Genshin. In that month, Honkai ran a collab event with Neon Genesis Evangelion and brought the character Asuka to the game. I had watched EVA, and I felt like that was a good time to start. Honkai 3rd wears its anime influences very proudly on its sleeve. The world building is an homage to Neon Genesis Evangelion, but narratively, it follows the hopefulness of another Gainax mecha show, Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. It takes key notes from different Magical Girl series, descending to the melancholy of Madoka Magica, but rising with the action and escalating imagination of Symphogear. It's a story that has space to be philosophical, emotional, and heavy, while also being lighthearted, funny, and hopeful. Honkai 3rd's narrative climaxes are defined by incredible combat sequences and boss battles, and reach their peak with animated sequences and songs that elevate Honkai's story into the pantheon of truly worthwhile stories. Thinking about this story brings back fond memories and tears for so many people, and has become an important landmark title in miHoYo's library. And now, having set the tone and stage, I'll now introduce you to the story that is Honkai Impact 3rd. What is Honkai? The Honkai is an otherworldly force that can cause natural disasters, create monsters, and can turn people into zombies. Honkai is a type of higher dimensional energy that is often referred to as imaginary energy. Honkai has threatened humanity since before recorded history, bringing great destruction every time human civilization advances. When a sufficient amount of Honkai energy gathers, a Honkai Impact occurs, flooding an area with radiation, leading to the creation of a Herrscher core. This object holds the authority of a Herrscher, granting godlike powers to an individual, turning them into a Herrscher. It is said that 14 known Herrscher authorities once appeared on Earth, and will one day all appear again to bring about the end of the world. 50,000 years ago, in a time known as the Previous Era, a united human civilization waged a bloody war against the Honkai, and were defeated by an entity known as the Herrscher of Finality in a devastating battle on the moon. Ruins of humanity's previous civilization still remain across the Earth, holding many secrets about the Honkai curse that haunts the planet. In modern times, warriors known as Valkyries do battle against the Honkai and carry with them their motto, "Fight for all that's beautiful in the world," an anthem of humanity's ember of hope. Now, let's learn all about the main characters and their backstories before the start of the game. Kiana Kaslana is the hero of Honkai 3rd. She's a hot-headed girl with a dream to become the greatest Valkyrie of the organization known as Shicksal. Kiana seeks to learn more about her deceased mother and her missing father. She is haunted in her nightmares by a malevolent entity, the Herrscher of the Void. Before the events of the main story, she roamed the world alone in search of her father, until arriving in the city of Nagazora, Japan. Raiden Mei is the best friend of Kiana and the heiress of a Japanese tech corporation. The two first met at Chiba Academy in the city of Nagazora, An eruption of Honkai energy in Nagazora transformed the population into zombies and led to Mei awakening as the Hersher of Thunder. Mei sought to take her own life as a result of these events by jumping from the school's roof, before Kiana caught her and saved her. They've been together ever since. Bronya Zajcik is the third protagonist of Honkai 3rd. Bronya grew up as a war orphan in the unforgiving climate of the Siberian tundra, and was trained as a ruthless assassin named Silver Wolf of the Urals. She eventually was brought to an orphanage by a woman named Kokolia. She met many friends in that orphanage, including a girl named Sele. One fateful day, Sele disappeared during human experiments run by Kokolia, and Bronya attempted to rescue her. In the process, Bronya suffered from exposure to Honkai energy, and needed to be augmented with robotic parts and a mind-controlling brain chip to function normally. She eventually meets Mei and Kiana in Nagazora, who help her regain her humanity, and they try to break her free from Kokolia's control. She becomes the third part of their trio, fighting zombies in the ruins of Nagazora. Murata Himiko is the captain of the flying battleship Hyperion, who is dispatched to investigate the Honkai eruption in Nagazora. She fights against Mei, who loses control and becomes the Hersher of Thunder. Himiko narrowly gains the upper hand to defeat the Hersher and brings the trio into her custody. Himiko was once an aerospace engineer studying at the California Institute of Technology before becoming a Valkyrie. She is now a teacher of the Valkyrie training school, St. Freya High. Teresa Apocalypse is the principal of St. Freya and one of the most powerful Valkyries of Shicksal. Teresa is a clone and an immortal human Honkai hybrid. She knows Kiana's parents well and offers to one day tell Kiana all she knows about the whereabouts of her father, on the condition of the trio becoming students of the academy. They all agree and spend the next few years living as students. Fu Hua is the class president, who tries to keep Kiana in check. Fu Hua holds a secret. She's an immortal warrior who has protected humanity for thousands of years, but now works undercover for the mysterious overseer of Shicksal. Fu Hua cherishes her time at St. Freya High, and often finds herself struggling against her ideals and the mission given by the overseer. Now, to introduce the main factions of the early story. Shicksal, the organization that runs St. Freya High, is a church based in Europe, with a mission to defeat the Honkai threat. They're led by the overseer, Otto Apocalypse, who commands armies of soldiers known as Valkyries, who use Honkai-powered battlesuits to fight the Honkai. Otto himself has a more hidden agenda beyond his calling as leader of the church. He wants to resurrect his childhood friend Colin, who died because of his past mistakes. He's lived for over 500 years over this obsession, destroying countless lives and countries in that pursuit. Anti-Entropy, an American-based organization, rebelled against Otto. They seek to also fight against the Honkai, but have been locked in an antagonistic power struggle against the Church of Shicksal since 1955. They're led by their sovereign, Welt Yang, who is the Hersher of Reason, the first Hersher, who instead fights on the side of humanity. Anti-Entropy uses mecha technology instead of live soldiers to fight the Honkai. Welt also taught Kiana, Mei, and Bronya as a teacher at St. Freya High, but in his absence as head of Anti-Entropy, several rogue officers have taken control of the organization, creating many issues that the Valkyries find themselves having to fight against. To summarize, Honkai is a form of imaginary energy that humanity has been fighting against for thousands of years. Honkai creates Hershers that are destructive godlike beings that want to bring about the end of the world. Kiana, Mei, Bronya, and all of their friends will have to master Hersher powers to win the war against Honkai, enduring through great suffering to finally reach their happy ending. The story of the first 9 chapters introduces the dynamics of St. Freya High's found family, and follows their missions against Anti-Entropy and with Shicksal. Kiana will come to terms with the history of the Hersher of the Void who haunts her memories, and what this mystery has to do with her and her family. The second phase of the story, Chapter 10 through 25, follows the independent stories of Kiana, Mei, Bronya, and others as they struggle to understand more about Hershers and how to master their powers, achieving important character development and growing towards becoming fully realized adults. The third and final phase, comprising of chapters 26 through 35, bring the story to its climax, as the secrets of the world and the Hershers are finally revealed, and brings all of the major conflicts and enemies on the Earth to their final closure. Chapters 36 through 42 serve as an extension to the main story, further developing the other members of the cast and introducing new worlds beyond the Earth, setting up the future of the story, and eventually connecting to Honkai Star Rail. So, when does this story start getting good? I think this answer can be simple. It starts getting good as soon as you start taking it seriously. Keep in mind the context of its history, as the early part of the story was part of a multimedia project that spanned comics, videos, visual novels, and the game itself. What you experience in the early chapters is only a small part of what it was like to be immersed in the world early on. For those who want to focus on the in-game story first, the main plot threads start in Chapter 3, and all the major players of the cast are introduced by Chapter 12. As you work your way through the 35 chapters of the first main story, look forward to these chapter numbers for key moments of character development. Chapter 9, Chapter 11EX, Chapter 17, and Chapter 25. I'd like to list many more chapters, but these ones define Kiana's journey vividly. Honkai Impact is a massive story, so take your time to fully immerse yourself into its narrative. I really think that the journey will be worth it. In the future, I'll be focusing on summarizing, reviewing, and analyzing each major story arc of the game, as well as the important stories told by the comics and other media. Please let me know in the comments what questions you have, as well as information you'd like me to cover in the future. Thank you, Captains, and welcome aboard the Hyperion. Let's fight for all that's beautiful in the world.